Hello everyone, welcome back to Munching Money. Today we're going to talk about how you can get from the 30 to 40k salary range into the 50, 60 or 70k salary range. Because one thing that I see with people, especially in their mid-late 20s or early 30s, is that they get stuck in like the 30k hell range where they're earning decent money, they've got an alright career, but they've got no idea how to push into that next level. And I see it all the time. I see people make classic mistakes. And today in this video, we're going to break down how I managed to push from 30 up to 50k plus and how you can too. So stick with it. First thing we need to recognize about how much we earn is that we need to be in the right industry. So if you're earning 30, 35, 40k, but you've been to uni for 3 years, you've got a PhD, or your job requires some type of really high specialist qualification, you're probably in the wrong industry. The only careers really that require really high level qualifications should be things like doctors, vets, senior accountants, and careers along those lines. I see this a lot, like vet nursing is a really, really good example. So my girlfriend wanted to become a vet nurse, but it requires like 3 to 5 years of training. And after that, you're on like 28k a year. It just isn't worth it. Same thing goes for the NHS, unfortunately. So I do a lot of work for the NHS, but the way that they structure their salaries is in bands, and it can take you 5 years, 8 years to get from kind of a band 5 up to a band 7, from that 30, 35k up to 40, 50k, and it's just not conducive to earning money. You need an industry that scales as your skills expand and one that has high ceilings. So every skill or every qualification that you pick up, I've got a rule, and that should add around 10k onto your salary. So, for example, I was kind of a junior project manager in my early 20s, and I thought to myself, right, how do I increase from 30k to up to 40, 45k? And the answer for that was a qualification. So I got my Prince 2 project management qualification, which, for those who don't know, it's just a qualification in project management that basically says, look, this guy's quite good, he knows his stuff. And that pretty much added 15k straight onto my salary, because in interviews, when they were trying to offer me shit money like 30, 35k for a job that was 40, 50k, I'd just say, well, I'm a fully qualified project manager, I have this qualification, and that immediately raises the floor on what salary that you can demand. And I'd look at you to push for careers like this. So technology is a great example. Like if you know basic tech, great, you're going to be on 30, 40k. But if you can learn how to code like Python, or you can learn sales is another good example. If you can add that skill to your skill set, suddenly you can ask for an extra 10, 15 or even 20k a year. So the first lesson here is to be in an industry where your skills will scale with your salary, or the other way around, your salary should scale with your skills. It's really, really important. And I want you to go away and look at the industry that you're working in and think, right, do my skills go up in line with my salary? If the answer is no, you need to have a look at a different industry. Next up, we've already spoke about skills, but another thing you need to look at is who in your industry or at your workplace is earning the type of money that you want to earn. So let's say that you're 30 years old, you're on 35k a year, and you know that someone who's in their mid-50s, who's been there for 20 years, has the PhD, has all the sales experience, whatever it may be, and they're only on 40k a year. Well, you need to look at that and think, right, okay, so is that the benchmark? Like, do I need to be here another 20 years to get an extra 10k a year pay rise? It just does not make sense to do that. And again, it links into your industry in the sense that you need to know how much you are worth. So go away, look at your market and standardize yourself against that market. If you're seeing adverts for 50k a year and it says 5 years experience, great. That should tell you that the place that you're working at now isn't rewarding you properly. So you need to go away and again, look at your industry and look at your skills, look at the people around you and ask yourself, am I better than them? Yeah, they may be 20 years older than me, but are they quite average? Am I really good? You need to benchmark yourself against the market. And the first thing that you can do is look at the people in your workplace and ask yourself, am I better than them? And do I deserve the same money as them? And does my pay scale accordingly to where I am with the market? And if the answer is no, I'd encourage you to have a chat with your boss. Speaking of which, I do have a video called How to Ask for a Pay Rise on this channel. So if this particular point hit you hard, go away, watch that video, implement it, and let me know in the comments section how you get on. Next up, I hate to break it to you guys, but if you're really shit at your job, you're not going to earn more money. So the next thing that you need to be looking at is your development. Are you better than you were last year? Is your package as an employee, because remember, we get paid to add value. We need to be good at our jobs. We need to be bringing in more revenue for that company than we're asking for in salary. Are you developing, or are there areas for you to develop? Can you go to your boss and say, hi mate, I feel like I'm really good at this, but I'm not very good at this. I want to develop this to become a better professional. Can you do that? If the answer is no, again, you're in a stagnant industry or in a stagnant business and you need to leave. So always look at your development. Think, how can I get better in my areas? So, for example, I work in consultancy for healthcare and I'm quite strong within the pathology remit, but I'm not very strong in the electronic patient record remit. That's kind of a particular weakness of mine. And some people will say, well, you're really good at one thing, so just double down on that. And I get paid quite well to be good at that. But my thinking is, well, no, I want to be a more rounded professional because that's how I'm going to add 10, 15, 20k a year onto my salary. You need to look at your gaps and your weaknesses or areas that you can develop and define those. And this can take time. It might take you 6 months, a year, 2 years, even 3 years. But it's really, really going to help you because you can go back to your boss and say, look, last year we sat down. This was my weakness. I filled that gap. This is what I am now. I'm a more complete package and I offer more value to the company. So therefore, you need to pay me more. And if not, tell him to stick it. Next on our list is around taking ownership. So I always have a saying that in times of panic, that is your chance to prosper. So when everyone around you is panicking, doesn't know what to do, this is an exceptional chance for you to show leadership to your boss or your employer, whoever it may be, and say, look, I've got this. So, for example, in my line of work, there was a message in the Teams chat one day, and we needed help to get a certain accreditation for the company that we needed. And that message popped up, and I'd already done this specific kind of thing, an accreditation, for another company before. And there were kind of like two things, angel and devil, on my shoulders. So the devil was telling me, just ignore that message, Joel. You can just not do it. You don't need it. It's going to be a lot of work. There's absolutely no need for you to get involved. Just leave them to it. But then, on the other hand, I had a thought that said, well, you want to differentiate yourself here. You want to be the guy that comes in, saves the day, and helps the company develop. So I put myself forward for it, and literally a year later, I said to them, well, we got this accreditation, took us a year, it was a lot of hard work, I volunteered for it, I've helped develop the business, which was an area that you wanted me to work on, where's my money? And I ended up getting a 10 grand pay rise because of that. So again, use initiative. Think, how can I help and how can I go above and beyond? It's just absolutely critical. You want to become the person that when someone says, what projects come in, you want to go, right, that's Joel's, give it to them. You need to be that key person. You need some type of unique selling point, something that differentiates you from the rest of the pack, because then you can use that as leverage to go to your boss. Look, I've been on this salary for a year now. This is where I'm at. This is what I want to earn. This is the market rate, and I'm being super reasonable. And that comes into our last thing, our last point in how you can get from 30, 40k up to 50k plus, and that is timing. So you don't want to just ask for a pay rise when the market's in the bin or when people aren't making enough money in your industry. You want to strike when the iron is hot. And I've got a really good example of this from my workplace. So there was a lady and she was working really, really good at her job. And she was working full-time on a project. My company was billing out at a day rate, a very lucrative day rate. And she wasn't very happy about what she earned. And I kind of said to her, right, this is the perfect time for you to ask for a pay rise because you're bringing in a lot of revenue, you've got really good skills, and what are they going to say? It's like, oh, sorry, you're bringing in 200k a year in revenue. Sorry, we can't afford to pay you an extra 10 grand, take you from 35k up to 45k. We can't do that. And they literally snapped her hand off. They were like, yep, here you go. Here's your pay rise. Here's your promotion. Just keep doing a good job. So you need to strike when the iron is hot. You need to look at your industry or look at what you're doing and thinking, am I replaceable? And if the answer is no, there's a very good chance that you're going to be able to leverage a pay rise by sitting down with your boss, clearly, communicating clearly, and just asking really nicely, look, this is where I'm at. Can I have a pay rise, please? And that's the main thing that I notice with people that don't ask. You need to ask, and you need to ask when the time is right. And that is going to be the main thing, really. You're not going to get paid more just because you're good at your job. Like, companies will pay you the minimum that they can pay you without you leaving. They're not just going to come to you and go, hey, Joel, you had a really good year. Here's an extra 15 grand. No, it's up to you to present a business case to them to say, this is what I'm worth. This is what I offer you, and this is what I want to get paid. And for me, especially young people in the late 20s, the early 30s, they just don't know how to do that. But again, if you want to know how to negotiate for a pay rise, check out my previous video. So there we have it. There's how you can get from 30 to 40k up to the 50, 60, 70k plus range. We need to understand our industry, understand our value, create leverage, develop as a professional, and then nail the timing and prove to your employer that you are worth that extra 10, 15 or 20k. If you found this video useful, let me know in the comments section, what helped you get a pay rise, or which parts of this video did you find particularly useful, or which ones did you think were a complete waste of time, and tell me if I'm just living in fantasy land. Certain industries this won't work in, which was the first point in this video, so let me know if this made you think, maybe that guy was right, or might be completely wrong. You let me know. Comment, like, subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.